United States election will be decided by 6 swing states. The U.S. election this year has almost 240 million eligible voters. Yet only a small percentage of those will likely decide who will be the country's next president. Only a small number of states, in the opinion of experts, are reasonably competitive for either Democratic President Joe Biden or his Republican predecessor Donald Trump. Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin are the 6 states that seem to be in a tight spot and could determine who wins the presidency. Therefore, in order to win over uncertain voters in these states, both parties are heavily campaigning. Arizona, with the help of Grand Canyon State, which decided to vote for a Democratic candidate for the first time since the 1990s. Mr. Biden won the president in 2020. This state, which shares hundreds of miles of border with Mexico, is currently in the center of the country's immigration controversy. During Mr. Biden's administration, border arrivals have reached all-time highs, giving him a serious political challenge. Although there has been a decline in border crossings in recent months, he has hardened his stance and announced intentions to use border shutdowns when crossings spike. Mr. Trump has consistently criticized his opponent's immigration record and threatened to implement the largest deportation operation in U.S. history should he win back the president. A heated dispute over abortion access has also arisen in Arizona, as state Republicans have tried to bring back a nearly 2-century-old, nearly complete prohibition on abortion. Since the U.S. Supreme Court reversed a historic decision in 2022 that granted women the constitutional right to an abortion, the subject has gained national attention and grown highly charged. Georgia, the list of states in which Republican authorities backed by Trump attempted to obstruct Joe Biden's victory in the 2020 election, closely resembles our list of swing states. Regarding purported meddling in elections, Mr. Trump is facing 4 felony charges in Georgia. He and 18 other people are charged with plotting to reverse his narrow loss to Mr. Biden in the state. It appears improbable that the case will go to court before the election, and he denies any wrongdoing. In any case, it's unclear if Mr. Trump would suffer at the polls as a result of his legal troubles. Given that his hush-money prosecution resulted in a guilty conviction, we might learn shortly. Georgia has one of the greatest percentages of African Americans in the nation, and it is thought that this group had a significant role in Mr. Biden's victory in 2020. Black voters in America, meanwhile, have reportedly expressed disenchantment, with some claiming that not enough has been done to address racial injustice or improve the economy. Michigan, in the last 2 presidential elections, the Great Lakes state selected the victor. Despite supporting Mr. Biden in 2020, the move has come to represent a backlash against the president in the country due to his support for Israel during the Gaza war. More than 100,000 voters selected the uncommitted option on the ballot during Michigan's Democratic primary in February, as a result of a campaign launched by activists demanding that the U.S. government support a ceasefire in Gaza and stop providing military aid to Israel. Notably, Michigan has the highest percentage of Arab Americans in the nation. This group appears to be losing support for Mr. Biden. Mr. Trump has emphasized the importance of the state to his chances of winning. Speaking about the Middle East, he has urged Israel to get it over with fast once its war against Hamas in Gaza is complete. Nevada, the Silver State, has tended to vote Democratic in recent elections, but there are indications that the Republicans may be about to make a comeback. According to recent averages released by the poll tracking company 538, Mr. Trump has been leading Mr. Biden there by a significant margin. The guys are competing for the support of the state's sizable Latino community. Nevada's post-COVID recovery has been slower than other states, despite the U.S. economy experiencing robust growth and job creation since Mr. Biden assumed office. Based on the most recent U.S. government statistics, the state has the highest unemployment rate in the U.S., behind only California and the District of Columbia. Mr. Trump has promised to reinstate his plan of universally lower taxes and fewer regulations should he win the presidency once more. Pennsylvanians are by no means the only Americans experiencing challenges on their standard of living due to inflation. However, market research firm Data Assembly claims that the cost of groceries has increased more quickly in their state than any other. Up to 1 in 8 residents in Erie, a bellwether county for the rest of Pennsylvania, are thought to be food insecure, according to a recent BBC story on the hardships residents are facing. The state supported Mr. Biden's successful White House bid and proven to be crucial in the 2020 election. His childhood home, the working-class city of Scranton, holds a special place in his heart. High inflation may be detrimental to Mr. Biden nationally, because polls indicate that voters' perceptions of the economy are being negatively impacted. Mr. Trump has made an effort to criticize his rival for his consistently high prices. However, he faces his own obstacles in Pennsylvania, following his Republican primary opponent Nikki Haley's rather successful showing there. Wisconsin. Additionally, the Badger State selected the victorious presidential candidate by a margin of just over 20,000 votes in both the 2016 and 2020 elections. Experts have argued that third-party candidates running against the major two parties' policies could have the biggest impact in states like these that are on the margins. According to polls, a significant showing of support for an independent candidate like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is battling to be included on the ballot in Wisconsin and other states, could hurt Mr. Biden's or Mr. Trump's vote totals. According to Mr. Trump, Wisconsin is really important. If we win Wisconsin, we win the whole thing. Milwaukee will host the Republican National Convention in the summer, in an attempt to prove that he was creating employment. Mr. Biden recently cited the planned construction of a new Microsoft data center in Wisconsin. He said that his predecessor had failed to fulfill his promises.